Tom sat hunched on the old recliner, the ticking wall clock filling the quiet room as he slowly unlaced his boots. His hands, rough and stained with oil, trembled slightly from the day's labor. The single light overhead cast a warm but tired glow on the small living room. It wasn't much, but it was home, a two-bedroom rental on the edge of town where laughter sometimes echoed louder than the silence left behind by his late wife. His 10-year-old son, Luke, burst through the front door like a gust of wind, cheeks pink from the evening chill and eyes wide with excitement. "Dad," he shouted, shrugging off his jacket. "Guess what?" Tom smiled faintly, always warmed by his boy's energy. "What happened, buddy? You win the lottery." Luke plopped down cross-legged on the floor, his hands moving with enthusiasm. "I met someone at the park. Her name's Miss Harper. She was sitting on the bench reading, and when I told her I was just waiting for you to finish with the car, she started talking to me." Tom raised a brow. "Talking to you?" "Yeah. She asked me about school, and I told her about my science project. Then she bought me an ice cream cone, Dad, and she said she used to have a dog just like Rusty." He gestured to their lazy old mutt, snoozing in the corner. Tom's smile grew, but only slightly. He was always wary when strangers paid too much attention to his son. "She seems nice, huh?" "She's awesome. So I invited her to dinner tomorrow." Tom froze mid-motion. "You did what?" "I asked her if she wanted to come have dinner with us tomorrow. She said yes." Luke's face beamed with pride, as if he'd just performed the kindest act in the world. And maybe, in his little heart, he had. Tom leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. "Luke, we don't even know this woman." "But she's not scary or weird, Dad. She's really kind. You'll see." Luke's smile faltered slightly as he sensed his father's hesitation. "I just thought maybe you'd like someone to talk to. You don't laugh as much anymore." The words hit Tom like a quiet punch to the chest. He looked down at his worn-out hands, guilt welling in his throat. It wasn't that he didn't want company. It was that he didn't feel like he had anything to offer. Their home was small, the furniture mismatched. He often scraped dinners together from whatever was in the pantry. He imagined the stranger walking into their humble space and seeing right through it all, the faded paint, the chipped mugs, the half-working oven. He sighed. "Luke, we don't even have enough for a big dinner. I was just going to heat up the leftover soup." "That's okay," Luke said quietly. "She won't care." Tom looked at his son, the innocence in his eyes unshaken. He was still young enough to believe the world was mostly good. Maybe Tom needed a little of that belief again. Maybe, just maybe, it wasn't about how much they had, but how much they shared, even if it was just a bowl of soup and a worn seat at the table. He nodded slowly. "Okay, but you have to help me clean up around here." Luke lit up again, leaping to his feet. "Deal." As Tom watched him run off to straighten pillows and sweep the floor with more heart than skill, something shifted in him. Maybe kindness didn't need a perfect house or a fancy meal. Maybe, just maybe, this unexpected dinner guest was exactly what they both needed, not to impress, but to remind them of the connections that make life rich, no matter how simple the setting. And so, in a modest home filled with love, a door was about to open, not just to a stranger, but to the possibility of something beautiful, unexpected, and life-changing. The next evening, the little house smelled faintly of garlic and baked bread. Tom had spent the afternoon scrubbing the kitchen, straightening every cushion, and fixing the flickering bulb above the dining table. It wasn't much, just a pot of pasta, a homemade loaf he'd dug out of an old recipe book, and a salad with whatever vegetables they had left. But it was warm, and it was made with care. Luke had been bouncing with excitement since he got home from school, running to the window every few minutes. "Do you think she really come?" he asked for the 10th time. Tom tried to sound more confident than he felt. "She said she would." And then, right on time, came the knock. Tom wiped his hands on a towel and walked slowly to the door. When he opened it, he had to take a second look. There she stood, Harper Evans, dressed in simple jeans and a navy sweater, her hair tied back casually. But there was something about her, the way she stood, the way her eyes took everything in, polished, graceful, confident, and behind her, parked neatly on the curb, was a sleek black car that looked far too expensive for this neighborhood. "Hi," she said, smiling warmly. "I hope I'm not too early." Tom nodded, his voice caught somewhere between caution and politeness. "No, not at all. Come in." She stepped inside, offering him a bottle of sparkling juice. I wasn't sure what to bring, but I thought this might go nicely with dinner. Luke appeared from behind the couch, practically glowing. Miss Harper, you came. I told you I would, she said, crouching to his level. And thank you for inviting me, it means a lot. They sat around the table, the three of them, with Rusty snoozing nearby and a quiet breeze coming in through the cracked window. The meal was humble, pasta with red sauce and toasted bread, but Harper complimented every bite like she was dining at a 5-star restaurant. This sauce is incredible, she said. You made it yourself? Tom gave a quiet chuckle. Yeah, just something I threw together. Luke jumped in. Dad makes the best food. He even learned to cook from a YouTube channel after Mum. He paused, then looked down. Harper glanced gently at Tom, then nodded with care. Well, he's doing an amazing job. Tom kept watching her, trying to place what exactly seemed different. She wasn't trying to impress anyone, but there was a composure in her, something refined, like she was used to walking into boardrooms more than modest kitchens. She listened with genuine interest to Luke's stories about school and his dreams of becoming an inventor, laughing easily and asking all the right questions. Still, Tom remained quiet, only joining in with a polite word here and there. He couldn't shake the question in his mind. Why was someone like her here? Why was a woman who clearly came from another world sitting in his kitchen, sipping sparkling juice from a mismatched glass, complimenting his overcooked pasta? As dinner wrapped up and Luke ran off to show Harper his cardboard spaceship project, Tom started clearing the dishes, stealing glances at the woman who now sat cross-legged on the floor, listening to his son with total focus. And in that moment, something unexpected began to happen, not outside the door, but inside Tom's guarded heart. The feeling that maybe, just maybe, this woman wasn't here out of pity or charity. Maybe she was here because kindness, real kindness, doesn't wear a name tag or a suit. It simply shows up when you least expect it. The soft clinking of dishes had quieted, and the kitchen had settled into a peaceful stillness. Luke had dashed off with his sketchbook in hand, excited to show Harper his wild collection of spaceship and robot drawings. Now, only Tom and Harper remained at the kitchen table, the empty plates pushed to the side, the overhead light casting a warm halo between them. Tom shifted uncomfortably in his chair, unsure what to say. He wasn't used to this quiet conversation with strangers, let alone a woman who seemed so out of his world. Harper, sensing his hesitation, offered a gentle smile. Her presence wasn't pushy, she simply waited. You've got a great kid, she said softly, her fingers brushing the rim of her glass. He's got this light in him. That kind of joy doesn't grow in just any home. Tom looked toward the hallway where Luke's voice carried faintly, describing a jetpack that runs on fruit juice. He chuckled under his breath, then exhaled slowly, resting his hands on the table. I try, he said. His mom, she passed 5 years ago. Car accident. It was sudden. One moment she was here, the next his voice trailed off. Harper didn't speak, she just listened. I had to quit my old job to take something closer to home, took a pay cut, had to learn how to cook, do braids, make Halloween costumes. He smiled faintly. Some nights I just hope I'm enough for him, you know, not just the meals and homework, but the love, the steady, the parts I'm still learning. His words hung in the air like smoke, quiet, honest, vulnerable. Harper's eyes were glassy now, her expression soft and unreadable. She leaned in just slightly. You're doing more than enough, Tom. Most people don't even realize how much they're giving just by showing up every day, but Luke does. It's written all over the way he looks at you. Tom looked away, swallowing hard. Compliments made him uncomfortable, especially from someone like her. There was a quiet grace in the way she carried herself. Her nails were manicured but subtle, her clothes were casual but finely tailored, and then there was the watch. He'd noticed it earlier, but now it caught his eye against Lincoln silver, with a small, engraved name just beneath the face. Evans Corp. His mechanic's mind registered it immediately. Evans Corp wasn't just any company, it was one of the largest tech and innovation firms on the West Coast. He'd heard about them in the new CEO-led charity drives, mentorship programs, $1 billion company that had started in someone's garage, and suddenly it clicked. The polished ease, the poised calm, the car. Harper Evans. He looked back at her, brows slightly raised. She noticed, followed his eyes to her watch, and gave a knowing smile. I don't usually talk about work at dinner, she said quietly. Especially not at the good ones. Tom nodded, saying nothing. It wasn't his place to ask, but inside, 100 questions stirred. What was she doing here? Why had she accepted a dinner invitation from a little boy at the park? Why stay up? But instead of prying, he offered the only thing that felt honest. Well, I hope the pasta held up, he said, half smirking. Harper chuckled, a warm, genuine laugh that seemed to melt away any distance between them. It was perfect. For a while neither of them spoke. The kitchen hummed with the soft buzz of the refrigerator, the kind of silence that didn't need to be filled. And in that quiet space, between grief and healing, between lives that had no business crossing, but somehow did, something unspoken began to grow. Trust. The morning sun cast a golden glow across the pavement outside Tom's auto shop, but he barely noticed it. He was under the hood of a rusted pickup, sleeves rolled up, grease on his hands, focused on a stubborn bolt that refused to budge. The familiar rhythm of the day had already begun, customers dropping off vehicles, the hum of tools, and the smell of oil and coffee hanging in the air. Then he heard it, the unmistakable purr of an engine that didn't belong on this side of town. He straightened, wiping his hands on a rag, and looked toward the entrance. A sleek black car eased into the lot, spotless and gleaming. It was the same car from the night before, but this time it looked even more out of place against the backdrop of faded paint, dented bumpers, and cracked concrete. The driver's door opened, and Harper stepped out. Only this time, she wasn't in jeans and a sweater. She wore a tailored navy suit, sharp heels, and carried herself like someone used to commanding boardrooms. She looked completely different yet somehow exactly the same. Tom blinked, confused. Harper behind her. A second car pulled in. A few people stepped out holding cameras, another with a clipboard and lanyard around her neck. Tom instinctively stepped back, glancing around at his crew, now watching from inside the shop. Harper approached, her smile calm but purposeful. "Sorry to drop in unannounced," she said, her tone professional but warm. "But there's something I didn't tell you last night." Tom raised an eyebrow, still trying to make sense of what was happening. "I'm Harper Evans," she continued, "CEO of Evans Corporation. The words landed like a brick. He didn't respond, just stood there, jaw slightly slack, his brain spinning. "We're launching a new community initiative," she went on, gesturing toward the film crew. "We're looking for small businesses that serve not just customers but hearts. People who lead with integrity. People who put others first, even when no one's watching." She stepped closer and held out a folder. "Your story, your life, moved me. You've done so much with so little. You've raised a remarkable boy and built something honest. Luke was right to invite me." Tom looked down at the folder, in her hands, still speechless. "This," she said gently, "is a partnership proposal. Full funding to expand your shop, upgrade your equipment, and bring on more staff. No strings attached, just the belief that people like you deserve to grow." The rag in Tom's hand dropped to the ground. For a moment, everything around him, the tools, the noise, the dust faded, his throat tightened. You don't have to do this," he managed to say. Harper shook her head, smiling softly. "No, but I want to, because the world needs more dads like you. More people who quietly do the right thing. You opened your home to a stranger and made me feel like family. That's rare." Tom looked over at his shop, at the walls he'd patched with his own hands, the cracked office window he hadn't had the money to fix. He looked back at her, eyes glassy, heart pounding. "Thank you," he whispered, barely able to get the words out. Harper nodded. "You're welcome, Tom, and thank Luke. He reminded me what real strength looks like." The camera crew stayed respectfully back, capturing the moment but not intruding. And in the middle of a dusty auto yard, under the soft morning light, a quiet mechanic's life began to change forever. The late afternoon sun streamed through, fresh curtains, casting golden patterns on the once faded walls of Tom's living room. The old recliner had been reupholstered, the cushions plumped, the shelves dusted and filled with books and small touches of warmth. It was still the same home, but brighter, fuller, and filled with a quiet kind of joy that had been missing for far too long. Tom sat on the couch, more relaxed than he'd been in years. Beside him sat Harper, her heels kicked off, her laughter light and genuine. Through the open window, they watched Luke outside, racing Rusty across a small patch of yard, his giggles ringing out like music. Everything felt, easier now, not because of money or status, but because someone had seen them and chose to believe in their story. Tom glanced over at Harper, a soft smile tugging at the corner of his lips. You changed our lives, he said, his voice, quiet, filled with gratitude. Harper turned toward him, her expression warm but thoughtful. No, Tom, she said gently. You changed mine. I'd forgotten what real strength looked like, what it means to keep showing up, to keep giving, love when it's hard. You reminded me. For a moment, they just sat there, the silence between them rich with understanding. No pretenses, no titles, just two people who had found something unexpected in each other's worlds. Suddenly, the screen door creaked open and Luke burst in, cheeks flushed, eyes bright. Dinner's ready, he announced proudly. Tom stood, chuckling. Let's hope the chef didn't burn the garlic bread this time. Harper laughed too as they walked toward the kitchen, side by side. There was no grand feast waiting, spaghetti, salad, and a warm loaf, fresh from the oven, but the table was full of laughter, of love, of second chances. And as the evening light bathed the room in gold, the camera of life gently faded not on an ending but on a new beginning, a simple meal, a warm home, and a future full of hope.